beautiful people, how's it all going? Hope you're all doing amazingly well. Today is going to be a bit different. It's something that's going to become more of my channel, and it's something that I really want to talk about, have this open discussion with you guys, because I feel like this topic is something that, even though it's more common to talk about nowadays, it's still quite a taboo subject, and there's like so many areas to it. But before I get into all that, let's just talk about what it's going to be about today. And today is going to be talking about mental health. Mental Health Awareness Week was 2 weeks ago now. There was a lot of things on social media going on, loads of things on Instagram that I saw, loads of things that people were doing. And it just really inspired me, because all these people were doing all these different things. And I think people still don't really know sort of the ins and outs of it. Like, if you're not somebody that has been through mental health before, or don't really know anybody that's been through it, then of course, you're not really going to know much about it. And some people need that extra assistance sometimes. Sometimes we don't want to talk to people. We can feel embarrassed or scared about talking about it with other people. So this is where I sort of come in. This is going to be my platform and something that I really want to discuss. So let's talk mental health. When you think of mental health, years and years ago, before it was more outspoken and talked about, I remember hearing the word mental or somebody being mental, and for me, it sparked as if somebody that was severely unwell to the point where they needed to be institutionalized. Like, that's sort of how I grew up with it. That's what I thought mental health was. I thought it was something where somebody just struggling so much in their head to the point where they weren't able to live their life day to day as they could before. So then they were put in an institution. I thought of it at the time, don't think of it now. With mental health, it's where it affects your psychological and emotional well-being. It can be something really little, or it can be something that it really impacts on your life every day. And there's different severities of it, there's different roots of it. So if you think of mental health as a tree, and then beneath the ground where all the roots are, there's different parts of it, different disorders. There's anxiety, there's depression. Sometimes there's no known reason for it. Sometimes it just comes about and you just end up feeling this way. And it can be really scary, because somebody who has been through it, and that I know lots of people have been through it, it's something that you can just think to yourself, you know, what's wrong with me? And you think what's wrong. But that's one of the things you've got to try and eliminate. It's not what's wrong with you, it's that extra nurture and care that you need for yourself that maybe you didn't necessarily need before, but you do now. You've got all these challenges that you face every day, you've got all these different things coming about, and of course that's going to make you, want extra support and just thinking, how can I get through this? If you're following me on my Instagram, which is linked down below, you'll know that I did a challenge for every day of the week, the Mental Health Awareness Week, and it was just different things that I've done previously that I feel like really works for me, that can really work for somebody else. And they're not the only tips out there that you can do, they're just things that I know that I do, and there's loads of things that I do, but they were like the really main things. I'm going to share them with you now. So the first thing you can do is set goals for yourself for the week. Now, with goals, it's so important to keep them simple but specific. So keep them realistic. Is this something that can be achievable for me, or is this something that's going to add more pressure and is going to make me feel really bad about myself? It's really making, first, I'd say, simple changes in routine. So say, for example, you want to get fitter, maybe start with, doing 2 to 3 sessions of exercise a week for half an hour. And then the next week, try 45 minutes. Next week, try an hour, like that sort of thing. So you're sort of gradually building it up. You're not making it this big thing that you have to achieve by the end of the week, or it's just going to result in you feeling like you're a failure. And obviously we don't want that. Examples for me that I've tried doing is doing meditation. I've been doing more exercise, but for like shorter sessions, just things like that. So keep it simplistic, keep it achievable, and keep it to something that you will try for and that you'll really go for and be able to achieve. You'll do something and you'll be like, oh, I did that and nobody else did, I did. So it just gives you that sense of achievement and passion towards yourself that you can do things and you're amazing. So another thing I suggested going along with the theme of exercise is, again, keeping up with your fitness. Even if it's just a stroll around after you finish work for the evening for half an hour. If you do exercise already, great. If you go to the gym, if you want to do it with a friend, even if it's doing like daily chores of, you know, vacuuming and whatnot for an hour, just something that's just going to get you moving, really release those endorphins. I think I put something on my post like keep grooving and get those endorphins moving. So I know, like for me, for example, like I love doing dance, and even if I'm doing housework, like I just put my headphones in, I have music on in the background, and I'm just, you know, doing my wiggles and whatnot while I'm doing my housework, and it just puts me in a really good mood. It just makes me feel really good. And you know, exercise is just a great way of relieving stress and just making you feel really good about yourself. So another thing that's really good to do is listing 3 things that you're grateful for. I think sometimes in society as a whole, we generally moan about the littlest things, and you know, we're entitled to a moan, that's absolutely fine, but it's when it's just the same old things getting to you all the time, and you really just need to sit down and just think to yourself, actually, you know, what am I grateful for? So it could be your family, it could be your friends, it could be your health, just little simple different things every single day. It's a really important exercise to do. It just makes you appreciate all the things that you do have rather than what you think you should have or that you would want to have, if that makes sense. It makes you more grateful about things and appreciate your life that little bit more. This is a definite favourite of mine, is listening to music. I have different playlists that I have. So I have the confidence playlist, I have an empowerment playlist, I just have my general one. Sometimes if I'm just in the car and I'm traveling back home from something, I tend to have a chilled playlist, some slow songs. When I've had like my moments before where people really annoyed me, I have an FURB playlist. I think you might know what that might be. I'm not going to say it on camera, but look up FURB, or you probably already know. Music is such a great way to just switch your mood all of a sudden. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I had something pop into my head and it made me feel really bad. But as soon as I put on like a song that I absolutely loved, within minutes, like it was just totally gone. And I just feel like it's just such a good source to just put you in a really good mood. Playlist definitely helps. Definitely get yourself different playlists to suit your mood, just something to help you express your emotions and also, you know, liven you up and really make you feel happy on the inside. And get some big earphones as well. Close out the world and you just want to have it for yourself, so definitely do that. I mentioned before previously about meditation. Now, when people probably think of meditation, they probably think of the old kind of thing, but it's not necessarily that. There's different types of meditation you can do. It can be, you know, a form of exercise like yoga. There's sleep meditation, so things you listen to before you go to sleep. There's morning meditations where you hear these different mantras and it just sets you up for the day and makes you feel really positive about what's going on. On Monday, as soon as I woke up, I didn't look at my phone. I just put my headphones in and I put on a podcast. And it was really nice, it was really positive, and it really just set me for the day. I felt really, really good. You know, Headspace is a really good one. Breathe, I think, is the one that I use for like the sleep meditations. But look up podcasts as well for like different confidence, positive things. And what was the one I was listening to? I was listening to Get Lippy With by Imagination, and it was just really amazing, and she's such an inspiring woman. So people you know that really inspire you, or things that you know that are going to inspire you and make you feel good about things, I definitely do that. This sounds obvious, but I think we don't actually do it, which is taking time for yourself. Even if it's just half an hour out of your day where you just go and have a bubble bath, you go and do that workout that you've been wanting to do all day, if you go and read a book, if you go and watch Netflix, the colouring in pages, listening to music, all sorts of things, but it's just having that time for you. I think sometimes we forget to, you know, really have that personal space for ourselves during the day when we're so busy with work and social life and everything else going on. I think it's just so important to just have that time for you. You just do whatever you want to do. It's just so important to incorporate that in your life more. I think the excuse that we say to ourselves a lot is, I don't have the time. Make the time. That's the key. Even if it's just a quick 10 minutes, 15 minutes of your day that you're doing each day of the week, it's something. It's that self-gratitude and that self-time and worth that is so important to invest in. It makes you feel special and worth it. And I think sometimes we forget to do that. Definitely incorporate more of that into things. Last thing I'm going to suggest for today, this is a really difficult one for some people. This has been a difficult one, especially for me to do, and it's talking to somebody. I think sometimes when people say talking to somebody, as soon as we hear the word counsellor or psychologist or, you know, all those other terms, then automatically we think, I don't really want to talk to anybody, like I'm fine. Like sometimes it can just be denial where you just think you're fine and, you know, you don't need to talk to anybody. But it is such a weight off your shoulders and it's such a release for you to do. First of all, I try, you know, talking to somebody that you know really well and that you can trust to confiding about how you're feeling. Or if you feel like you can't talk to somebody you know, then definitely visit your GP, talk to them about how you're feeling, and they'll be able to refer you on to somebody that they think will be beneficial for you. I know it can be so difficult. You can feel embarrassed, you can feel really scared, you can feel like it's not even going to do anything, so what's even the point? But unless you try, then you're really not going to know whether talking about it is going to help or not. Something I saw the other day was mental health is a bit like a bucket. So you have your bucket, the water rises and rises and rises and rises until it overflows and it comes spilling out, and then that's you sort of having that explosion. I've done it before to the point where, you know, I've had these little things sort of adding up, but I've been saying to myself, no, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I just explode. And then that's it. Because I haven't spoken about it, even if it's just like the littlest, tiniest thing I didn't think was even worth mentioning, it does get built up and gradually you just have that moment and you just feel like, why didn't I speak about it? But because it's a little thing, you don't necessarily think you need to say anything. Communication is so important, like speaking to your partner, your friends, your parents, anybody that you feel really close to, or anybody that you feel like you can go to that obviously doesn't know you. That can be really helpful as well. It's just trying. One of the things you could do before you go and speak to somebody is just write it down, because sometimes when we have things up in our head, it can just go round and round and round, but then when it's on paper and you can see it, then you can just look at it and think, okay, is this something worth talking about, or is this something that I can get over with myself and, you know, work out for myself? Just little things like that. That's the thing. It's making those little steps into, you know, making sure that you are communicating in some way, and you know, it can be really difficult, but it is really worth doing. Today was sort of, you know, just touching the layer of mental health. There's so many layers to it, and you know, there's so many layers that I know that I want to talk about. There's so many layers that I know a lot of you have experienced, and that's where I feel like I sort of, you know, want to talk about it a bit more. And I will just leave you with this one thought of the day: believe you can, and you're halfway there. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.